All right, everyone, we're going to be starting in about 30 seconds.
Good afternoon. I'd like to call this meeting to order on this Tuesday, July the 14th, 2020. And we're going to open the meeting by observing either a moment of silence, meditation, or silent prayer. So let's do that. Okay, thank you. And first on our agenda this afternoon, we have public comment. Susan, do we have anybody? Okay, no one registered for public comment. Next on our agenda is to move to adopt or revise our today's agenda. Any revisions needed? Could I have a motion then to adopt? Please. So Daron has adopted. Could I have a second? Catherine? Thank you, Catherine. Okay.
And now Susan's going to do the roll call.
Okay. Chair Cox, what is your vote?
Yes.
Mr. Dancy, what is your vote?
Yes.
Ms. Nelson, what is your vote?
Yes.
Dr. Bunch, what is your vote?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Susan. And we're going to have to do the same for our minutes, last month's minutes. You should have received a copy of those. And so I'll need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Okay, and let's do a second. That Dr. Bunch was, and I'll have a second. Catherine? Okay, I heard that. I saw that. Okay, Susan?
Chair Cox,
Yes.
Mr. Dancy,
Yes.
Dr. Bunch,
Yes.
Ms. Nelson,
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Susan.
Mhm.
Okay, so really first agenda item, major item is that we need to select a new board chair and vice chair. So I guess what I'm going to do is open that up for nomination.
We'll start with the chair.
And we're going to start with the chair. So nominations for the chair. Catherine?
Sorry.
That's okay. Catherine? You got it.
Dr. Bunch, I'd like to nominate her, please, for chair.
Okay.
Others?
Others?
I'd like to nominate Jim Cox.
Okay. Others? We have a light?
Daron?
Daron?
I'd like to nominate Jim Cox.
Okay. I guess that's, everybody's had a chance. I guess we need a, help me, Miss Elliott.
We need to see if nominations, I guess, are closed, and we'll do a vote.
We'll do a vote. So,
All in favor.
all in favor of,
We'll start with Sheila.
we'll start with Dr. Bunch. All those in favor of Dr. Bunch? Susan?
Chair Cox,
Sure, yes.
We got a problem here.
Mr. Dancy? Are you in favor of Dr. Bunch or Mr. Cox for
Right,
chair?
right.
Mr. Cox.
This is
Oh,
confusing
no,
today.
we've gotten too, sorry.
Yeah, okay. So we have two that have nominated Dr. Bunch. We have one that has nominated our current chair. Let me reverse
No,
that. Two
two
that has
for-
nominated our current chair, one that has nominated Dr. Bunch. And so I guess maybe what we need to do is find out if we should have, find out if who is, let's start with Mr. Cox first. Let's start over. Mr. Cox, all in favor of Mr. Cox?
Mr. Chair.
Start with everybody else.
Start with
and
everybody
go.
else,
Let
okay.
him be last this time.
Ms. Nelson, are you in favor of Chair Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Dancy?
Yes.
Dr. Bunch?
Yes.
So I guess that you have to ask me.
You want us to ask him now?
But
All
he
right.
has to vote.
Chair Cox, how do you vote?
Sure. I accept.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jim.
It's a little harder when
This
you're
was
doing it
awkward.
this way.
This was
Yeah,
hard.
yeah. So now we move to vice chair.
So now we move to vice chair. So we have to do the same thing. So let's maybe we can do a little bit easier this time. So I will open it up for nominations for vice chair.
Everybody's scared to talk.
And I'm going to nominate Dr. Bunch. Now, can I do that?
You got Mr. Dancy's got
Okay,
his.
Mr. Dancy, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm going to nominate Dr. Bunch as well.
Okay,
So we have a motion and a
that-
second.
so we have a motion, we have a second. Susan?
Okay, Ms. Nelson, what is your vote?
Yes.
Mr. Dancy?
Yes.
Dr. Bunch? Your vote? Should we take that as a yes?
I think we do.
That's awkward, I know.
Chair Cox?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. Hopefully things will be easier from here. Okay, we don't have to switch chairs or anything. I think we're good in terms of things. So I'm going to turn it over to Jan so she can introduce our new deputy director.
Right. Yes, I want to introduce Dr. Augustine Frazier. He is our brand new deputy director. He started on July the 6th. He comes with outstanding credentials from a lot of work that he's done in places like he's got some child welfare experience, Catholic charities, homeless work. So Dr. Frazier has a lot of excellent experience to bring to us, and give him a second if he wants to say a few words, I would think, to talk a little bit about what he has done and what his hopes are.
Thank you, Ms. Jan. Thank you, Chairman Cox. It's a pleasure, and I welcome the challenge of joining this family. I already see the town very inviting. I'm going to bring my children over this weekend, and they are going to visit. The one thing I have learned very quickly is that this is a community that is very cohesive, and everybody kind of learn to love each other. I want to bring that energy, and I want to share that perception that I will always be part of Greenville, and Pitt County is my home. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Fraser. That's very nice. Well, we welcome you, and it's not always this difficult, in terms of, but we're getting better, aren't we? So, thank you, Dr. Fraser.
Thank you.
Mhm. So Jan, next we're going to move on to recognition of retirees.
Right. And I am excited today to recognize Joy Boykin. Joy, if you will come on down and we will recognize you for your many years here in Pitt County. And I will meet you up front. Joy has been with us since 2003, I think. And before that, lots of other places. Joy was promoted to supervisor about the same time I got here, about 2014. So she's done a lot here in the agency. Joy is the go-to person for adoptions, for sure. And I can't let this pass without saying that this year we had 29 children adopted.
Wonderful.
We, as a result of that, have over $100,000 to spend on adoption services for next year. So we are just so thrilled with the work y'all did and what you did for the children here in Pitt County. And it's all thanks to Joy's leadership. We're going to miss Joy, especially this Christmas.
Yes.
Because Joy has been the Christmas person for us for a while now. So you bring so much to this agency. We're certainly going to miss you as a member of the party and the team and your leadership. So thank you so much for all that you've given to us.
Thank
And I
you.
don't know if you want to say anything. I know your team is excited and saying it.
Well, I would like for my unit, my team members to stand up because,
Y'all going down front.
yes, y'all please come on down.
So you can be sitting. Essentially did.
Because these special ladies have made my job very easy because they have all have a love for children. They have a love for finding permanency for children. And we could not do this work without such dedicated workers. And I appreciate each and every one of you.
Aw, we love you, Joy.
Yes, your shoes are, your shoes will be very challenging to fill. You taught us all well.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I agree with Tracy.
Thank you.
We would have had a party, but COVID kind of keeps us from having parties. So this was the best I could do. But I do, Joey, we are going to miss you a great deal and we wish you a wonderful retirement. Okay.
Okay. I guess they're welcome to stay or they can leave or, yeah. Okay.
While they're leaving, let me mention that we have 3 employees that were honored by the county this month for their service awards. Sheila Farrow has 5 years with the county, and Kelly Clay and Dee Hill have 15 years with the county, and they were acknowledged by the commissioners. And unfortunately, I missed saying that earlier, so I wanted to be sure we recognize them for their service.
Thank you, Jan. Okay, items for action. We're going to hear from Mr. Averett regarding the ESS and Michelle about the energy outreach plan.
Good afternoon. It's hard to believe it's time to plan for heating, the heating season, but this plan is our energy plan for the fiscal year 2020-2021. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the Low-Income Energy Assistance Program. The Low-Income Energy Assistance Program is a seasonal program annually to assist low-income households with heating expenses. The program is based on income and household size, and the allotments are based on income and household size. The allotments now are $300, $400, or $500 for each household, and the allotments are paid directly to the individual or household's utility provider. The program is set to begin December 1st, and it runs through March 31st. December is still a priority month for households with individuals age 60 and older. So during the month of December, households with seniors that are 60 or older are eligible to apply. And then beginning January 1st, all other households may apply. The plan is pretty much similar to the plan that we used for this previous LEAP program. The difference is now we're dealing with COVID. So we don't have a lot of specifics yet from the state about things that are going to be implemented to try to help with the process since COVID is with us. And at this point, we don't know what the circumstances are going to be with COVID in November going forward, because our staff generally comes in toward the latter part of November. But we do have a few community partners who have said we'll help however we can, depending on what the circumstances are at that time. We would still like to have access in the community where people can go and make applications if that's possible at the time. So I will be glad to answer any questions about the LEAP part of the plan or the LEAP program if anybody has any.
Any questions? Thank you, Brian.
Okay.
And the second energy program that is available is our crisis intervention program that is most commonly referred to as SIP. And it is a federally funded program that assists individuals and families who are experiencing a heating or cooling crisis. There are eligibility requirements for this program. And while the energy plan primarily speaks to the LEAP program, it also references the crisis intervention program as it relates to what outreach intent is for that program. And it runs the fiscal year for July through June. And there is a maximum of $600 that is available for the family to be used throughout the year. So if you have any questions about the crisis intervention program, I will answer those for you as well.
Thank you, Michelle. Any questions for Michelle? It is hard to believe we're already planning for that, in the middle of summer, but thank you for those presentations.
So we need to approve the plan.
Okay, so I've seen the plan, it was circulated, so we'll need a motion to approve this year's plan. If I could have a motion, please.
Okay.
I guess Daron?
No motion.
Daron? Okay,
And I saw Catherine trying to talk.
Catherine seconded.
Catherine seconded.
Yes.
All those in favor?
Oh,
Gotta go
Aye.
through the motion.
Oh, sorry, Susan?
Chair Cox,
Yes.
Dr. Bunch.
Dr.
Yes.
Bunch?
Okay, I saw her say yes. Mr. Dancy
Yes.
and Ms. Nelson.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, moving on here. We've heard a little bit about the out-of-state trip with the Links program, and I think, are you going to do this, Ms. Elliott?
Yes, it will
Okay.
be me.
Okay,
Okay, every year, every time that we take a Links trip out of state, the requirement has been that this board has to review that trip and has to make a recommendation that you support this activity. We have not had any trips, obviously, this year because of COVID. The Links youth and their leadership would like for us to allow them to have a holiday party aboard the Spirit of Norfolk. That would be out of Norfolk's harbor. It would be, as you have seen, a holiday show, a buffet, DJ, and dancing, and the event would be December 12th. And of course, they have, and the information about how they travel and stuff is there. The organization itself, the company that is offering this, has indicated that we will have the option of canceling the cruise if we don't feel comfortable sailing. And if, obviously, if COVID situation changes even for the worse, that would be another way to, that they would allow us to cancel. And if we do cancel, we would get credit towards a booking for the next year, if that's what we wanted to do. The youth have done this a couple of times over the years. They have thoroughly enjoyed it. It has been an opportunity to practice social skills, to participate with each other in a different way. And the staff enjoy going with them and chaperoning this. It's a very, couple of hours plus the trip up and back. Only those youth who are doing well in school and who are participating actively in the Links program would be allowed to go. So it will be a limited number of folks. So we would encourage at this point and recommend that this trip take place, with the understanding that if the COVID situation causes us to need to cancel, that we will. So we need a motion from you all one way or the other.
Could I have a motion, please? Or any discussion?
I see Catherine's hand.
Catherine,
So moved.
could I have a second?
Mr. Dancy.
Mr. Dancy,
Second.
second, okay. Susan,
Mr. Cox,
in favor, yes.
Dr. Bunch,
Yes.
Mr. Dancy,
Yes.
Ms. Nelson.
Yes.
That's everybody.
Thank you. And you'll keep us informed in that? and
We will,
terms of
we
things.
will.
Okay, thank you, Dan.
Okay.
Okay, items for discussion. Continuation of North Carolina Child Data Card. We had some discussion about this at the last board meeting. And a number of you had questions in terms of follow-up, and we had discussion, and I think we have a guest today to kind of maybe take a deeper
We do.
dive into this.
We do. We have Jennifer, who's going to be here to talk about some things that are currently going on in Pitt County. We also have some information about, where we have taken that more in-depth look at things. I know some of you had some interest from a racial breakdown. There were questions about how the Pitt County youth who were born with babies that are born with a low birth weight, how that counts, and they use it, the family's address, not the county where the children are born. And I did send you how they arrive at the data sources. I sent that as part of the package, and we won't go over that unless somebody's got a question. But it does provide some of the background information that y'all had questions about. So we've got, I think you've received some slides, and we'll kind of go through that. We're going to focus on, again, infant mortality, low birth weight, preterm, prenatal care, all of those things, health insurance, all those things that impact a healthy start for children. And so we've got a few slides. Can Susan, are those slides up?
Yes, ma'am, they're up.
Okay,
You have
great.
the-
So let's get started then, and certainly stop me if you have any questions or any concerns that you want to talk about. That assumes this is going to work. There you go. Okay. So as you can see, and this is looking at data between 2012, 2018. And as you can see, we have about 2,100 babies born each year to Pitt County mothers. And you can see kind of the general breakdown of 48% white, 43% African-American, 9% Hispanic. And obviously this is the Hispanic, well, all of these are based on self-identification. And so Jennifer, jump in wherever you feel the need to jump in. So after looking at that, we looked at some of the characteristics of the mothers. And you can see that our African-American and Hispanic mothers have a relatively low level of high school completion and are a little more on the side of unmarried. The teen pregnancy is not a big an issue as it once was, and you can see the very small numbers there. But there is still that issue out there. But as far as education and marital status, you can get a sense of what that looks like here in Pitt County, and you can see it by race. And I think we talk about that a lot because, you know, two-parent families are, you know, more likely to be out of poverty and those kinds of things. When you start looking at the behavioral characteristics of the mothers, you can see that as far as the smoking, which is one of the things, and a lot of this information is what you can find on the internet. And so when you look at the data, you can see that the smoking data is really low for the Hispanic families. And so in addition to that, I started looking at what we had in the way of children, because we've had a requirement to report from the hospital to report on substance affected infants for the last several years. And so I started pulling that data after we did this. And what I wanted you to know in getting the plan of safe care and that kind of thing, and we work with CC4C, which is connected with the health department also. So all the children that are born that are substance affected, and this would include fetal alcohol, are referred automatically to CC4C. And then we also determine whether we are going to assess them for protective services. So what I wanted to say, in the 26 months that we've been receiving this notification, or that I had data for, we had 171 children born in the Pitt County Hospital that were considered substance affected, and 150 of those were screened in for CPS assessment. And so I didn't do the breaking down of the demographics or any of that, but I do think that's, I mean, that's not a huge number, but that's still a significant number that I think we all need to be paying attention to. And that was, like I say, 26 months worth of data. So we're going to be taking a harder look at that in our agency. No first trimester prenatal care. This gives you the breakdown there. You can see that the African American and the Hispanic are about almost double what the white moms are doing as far as first trimester prenatal care. One of the other characteristics that can have some impact is obesity. And again, you see we're all struggling with that, but our African American mothers are struggling even more with that. So if we go, okay, there you go. If you look at poverty by race, the African American and Hispanic mothers are struggling more with poverty. And this poverty rate is related to 18% of the white mothers are in poverty. 32% of the African American mothers are in poverty, and 35% of the Hispanic mothers are in poverty. So this is not intended to be a look at poverty across. It's the mothers that are being impacted, that are being served, or who are coming for pregnancy services. So this is looking at those mothers. It's not looking at the total population.
So how do they define poverty here? You know, Jan?
Okay, that would be the federal breakdown for poverty. So that's about 12,000 for a family of one, 12 to 13,000, something like that. We're going to do a little bit more in the next slide about the financial aspects. Okay, clicker. Okay, so if you look at folks that have income greater than 138% of poverty, and we've given you what that would be for a family of four, you can see that the Hispanic population is rising there. When you look at those that are less than 138% of poverty, so these are the folks that are really struggling, you again see the Hispanic population is significantly impacted as being below poverty. And so there are a lot of things to look at from that, but part of that could impact the prenatal care that they're getting. It could, because they could potentially be dealing with not being, citizens They could be those folks that are undocumented. There are a variety of things to look at there, but they certainly are struggling from a poverty standpoint. And you have to remember, to get Medicaid as a one person, you cannot get Medicaid until you're pregnant. If you're only a one person family, you have to have a child to get Medicaid unless you meet the requirements of disability or all those other things, because Medicaid does not cover adults in North Carolina unless there's a child. So you're not getting that care from a medical standpoint until you become pregnant. And then you've got to figure out that you are pregnant before you start seeking care. But this gives you some sense there. When you start looking at the characteristics of our newborns, our African-American children are more likely to come in under 5.5 pounds. They are more likely to be preterm, and they're more likely not to be breastfed by discharge from the hospital. But with the exception of the breastfeeding, they're not hugely different. There are some difference, but not hugely different. If you look at our deaths at less than 1 and look at that by race, you can see that the African-American children are more likely to die before their first birthday.
So that's
per 1,000
1,000.
live births.
Gotcha.
So that's a significant number that we need to work on. If you look, and this is a slide that got added at the last minute, so I'm not even sure Jennifer's seen this one, but Kevin started looking at the causes of child death by age, race, and ethnicity, 1 to 12 years of age and 13 to 17 years of age. And I think, what he pointed out here as he was gathering this data is that our white adolescents are more likely to, or have more likely committed suicide or been part of a homicide. And our Hispanic children, throughout this whole thing, they're accidents primarily, as opposed to, chronic illness or homicides and suicides. If you look at our white population, those, 3 suicides and 1 homicide, that's a significant number there for them. So I thought that's good data to have. It's interesting data to have. I would have thought that the Hispanic mothers who, because they are frequently undocumented, that health issues, chronic illnesses might be a bigger issue, but accidents are the big issue for them. So that's the data that we were able to pull together to sort of better inform the discussion that we were trying to have last time. And Jennifer, you want to talk a little bit now about kind of what's going on and the services that are out there, or any comments that you want to make from the health department side. Now, Jennifer's your maternal and child health coordinator. You have all kinds of titles, I know.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Well, when I looked at your data, I just kind of compared it to our infant mortality data that we keep from year to year. I do chair PINPAC, which is the Pitt Infant Mortality Prevention Advisory Council. And I really noticed, not only today, but before, that the poverty levels and the infant mortality rates, it kind of mirrors one another as far as almost 2.5 times within that racial disparity between African Americans and Caucasians. So we definitely see that, and it's concerning, and it has been concerning for a long time. As far as what we're doing, the health department does a lot of different programs, and I'm not an expert in all of them, but you did mention Care Coordination for Children, which is CC4C. Sorry, this mask is going to drive me nuts. It keeps falling down. But, they are available. Also, that's for children who are born. But, we do try to intervene before babies are born, as far as like with with pregnant women with the OBCM, which is obstetric care management. So that's a partnership between pregnant women, their pregnancy medical home or prenatal care provider, and an obstetric care management person that works with them from the health department. They work together to improve the quality of prenatal care and birth outcomes. The OBCM program serves mothers to be who are eligible for Medicaid and are having high-risk pregnancies or potential high risk. So you've got high risk and then, poverty level as well. There's also the North Carolina Baby Love Plus program. And that is designed to improve the health and wellness of childbearing women ages 15 to 44, help to improve birth outcomes and the health of infants. And in one of your slides, I noticed that it talked about the entry to prenatal care at a later time versus an early time.
First trimester.
And this program really does strive to help get women into prenatal care. And so they're out beating the bushes, trying to get women in and following those women and getting them in. As far as like our family outreach workers or the family care coordinators, they provide case management to pregnant and or conception women. And then the family outreach workers provide coordination services. And so they're trying to help get those women in and then helping to follow them for up to 1 year after they've had a child. And then there's also Healthy Beginnings, or the Resource Moms, which they've been around for quite a while too. And the overall goal of those moms, or the Resource Moms, is to reduce the infant mortality rate by improving birth outcomes among African-American women ages 18 and older. So that is a really tight-knit group. They have a really low case number just so that they can form that relationship and help to provide a lot of care. And then there's Nurse Family Partnership, which you may have heard of in the past too. With Nurse Family Partnership, it's important to kind of get in early with that because they do have certain requirements for that program. And so they work to improve pregnancy outcomes, improve child health and development, improve the parents' economic self-sufficiency. And so nurses work with a caseload that they follow. We also provide prenatal care at the health department. And so we do that in two different ways. We have one-on-one prenatal care, and then also we have centering prenatal care, which is group prenatal care. And unfortunately, with COVID going on right now, we can't really have groups of people in, one room together. So we've not really been doing centering for right now, but we hope to eventually get back to that, or find some way to do that virtually in order to serve those women who want to do centering prenatal care. And it's a great program. And then we also have our Cribs for Kids program, which we offer cribs and safe sleep education for moms who have a child that is 12 months of age or younger, or they're pregnant. And so there's a few requirements for that too. You have to be pregnant or have a child 12 months of age or younger. You have to be receiving public assistance. And then you have to be a Pitt County resident for that. And so with that, you come in for a one-time class. It lasts about 30 minutes. You pay a $10 fee, which we put back into our program to help purchase supplies and then other cribs and things like that for the program. And also receive valuable safe sleep education. So in order to help reduce our SIDS rate. And then PIMPAC, I mentioned earlier, we work on infant mortality. There's several subgroups that work on different areas with that. I'm trying to think, we have Triple P, which is our positive parenting program, hoping to get, positive parenting techniques into the community and make it a normal thing to want to receive help with parenting, because it is normal. We all need help at some point in time in our lives when we're parenting our children. So that program is available too here in Pitt County. And actually Triple P is a regional grant. We have about 10 different counties that we serve. Lamaze childbirth education classes. I teach Lamaze classes along with our other child birth educator, Vashti Cottrell. We teach those typically, but again, thanks to COVID, we have not been able to hold classes since March. But that is a great class as well. You form really good community, and so that they start to have a really good relationship with each other, the participants too. and learn valuable information that they'll need for childbirth and to care for their infant afterwards. Let's see. And then child passenger safety. There's a few of us at the health department who are certified CPS folks, so we can look at car seats, help to install car seats with Vidant's injury prevention program. And then I'm trying to think of anything else I can tell you guys, kind of what's available here in Pitt County. But that's really all I can
I
think
think
of.
about WIC. Did you mention
Oh,
WIC? Yeah.
absolutely, WIC. And we do have WIC available. And WIC is currently, busting at the seams. Their numbers have definitely gone up during this crisis. But, WIC is a very valuable program to us at the health department and throughout the county.
And it works with moms who are pregnant.
Yes.
So early
They work
on,
with
you can
pregnant
start with
moms
the
and then
mom.
moms, postpartum.
Right. And we
They
have,
encourage breastfeeding, absolutely encourage breastfeeding, as well as, the WIC food packages and things like that.
you've got a hand. Several.
Any questions for Jennifer?
I see several.
Bunch and Nelson.
You want to call on somebody?
So,
Dr. Bunch
Dr.
and
Bunch?
Catherine.
Dr. Bunch, you have a question?
Yes, Jennifer, thank you for giving that information. There's a body of work out there that talks about improved birth outcomes when fathers are involved with the mother and prenatal care. So what kind of fatherhood projects are there in Pitt County?
I'm not really familiar with the individual projects. I just know that a lot of the programs that we offer, they incorporate that into the programs that that we already offer. Like with Triple P, we want partners to come. It shouldn't be just a mom coming to parenting class or to get parenting help. We want, the family unit. As far as nurse family partnership and OB care management, CC4C, all of them work to include fathers within the programs.
Great, wonderful, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And Catherine, you have a question?
Yes. Hey, Jennifer, this is Catherine. I'm real grateful for all the work that you're doing to help our babies in Pitt County. I am curious to know what the funding sources are for all these programs that you just shared with us.
Well, a lot of them are offered through the state agreement addenda. So it's like state grant funding that we receive. Centering's being paid through that. Safe Sleep is being paid through that currently. The Cribs for Kids program is covered under that agreement addenda. Healthy Start Baby Little Plus is, grant funding through the federal government. Nurse Family Partnership is a variety of different grants that are kind of pieced together. I'm trying to think. Healthy Beginnings was grant funded, but I know last year they were being funded by the county. That was a county funded program. And then I'm trying to think what else. PIMPAC, is coordinated through me, but we have a lot of different people that work with us. And over the years, there's been a lot of grants brought in, especially like through March of Dimes and things like that. Let's see, Baby Look Plus, OBCM is state, Care Coordination for Children is state. And then, our maternal health program for like Lamaze, childbirth education, we bill Medicaid. So that's how we pay for some of that, but it is like county funded through my position.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So Jennifer, what is the typical entrance into your programs? I mean, is there, and can a family participate in more than one?
Yes, absolutely. We see a lot of folks, and sometimes they'll move from one program to the other.
Mm-hmm.
Each program has their age eligibility requirements. So like Nurse Family Partnership will go up to, I think it's 2 years of age after the baby is born. So you're talking about prenatal through 2 years of age. They'll follow the child. Same with CC4C. They, I think theirs is.
I think it's 5.
Is it 5?
Like 4 or 5.
4 or 5. And let's see, 0 to 5. And then, let's see, Healthy Beginnings. A lot of times we will see, some of the same moms that we follow for year,
Sure, let's move
just
right on.
because they're, designated high risk. And needing that resource. But they all have their own, like, different eligibility
Makes sense.
requirements for that.
So is your question, how do people find out and how do they get in the door?
Yeah, kind of, what's the entrance? I mean, obviously you probably receive certain referrals from social
Absolutely.
services. from
We
the
receive a lot
hospital.
of
Can
referrals.
people self-refer?
Self-refer.
Okay.
We get referrals from DSS and other agencies within, the county or the region, depending on what program it is.
Sure.
We receive a lot of referrals.
Hey, thank you. Any other questions for Jennifer? Okay. Well,
Any ideas on how we can better work together or impact the services to address some of the concerns that we're seeing? Thoughts, other than just pouring more
wish.
money at it, other thoughts?
Well, of course, that always does help, but, getting moms in for that prenatal care, taking care of chronic issues, before you get pregnant, making sure that people are healthy before they get pregnant, because a healthy pregnancy, healthy baby, healthy mom is really the key. So, and that helps to prevent prematurity, which you talked about, and low birth weight and all that as well.
Dr. Fraser, you have a question?
Just a quick question. Do you have any community outreach program pregnancy?
Community outreach programs to
Yeah,
what?
for pre-pregnancy program?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
How does that work?
We do a lot of outreach as far through PIMPAC, not recently, of course, but we educate community groups, businesses, and things like that on preconception health and making sure moms and dads are healthy before the baby comes in. Hopefully a healthy mom, healthy baby. I've done some education out at with the Strive groups and things like that as well. And anytime, anybody invites me, ECU, I've gone to ECU, I've gone to Pitt Community College and done outreach events there as well.
Maternity fairs.
Maternity
you
fair.
do those. I know that
yeah.
anytime we have something, y'all show up on our doorstep to be there for any of the events we've got. So.
Yeah, I'm still, unknown with maternity fair. We did have to postpone it. It was supposed to be in April. And we have that every year. And, it's been 20 some years going on. And so that helps to promote the resources within the community to anybody. So
Okay.
hopefully we'll get that late fall. Hopefully.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
you
you.
coming.
Uh-huh.
That was very good.
Okay.
Okay. So maybe what we do is let's kind of, let's not forget about this,
Right.
and let's kind of keep it on the agenda. And so maybe we can kind of continue with this discussion in terms of things, let people think about it. And I think it's important. And I'm sure that your staff work very closely with the health department in terms
We
of
do.
things. Has there ever been any in-service? Have they come over and talked to your staff?
I think there's at various points in
Good.
time there have been. I don't know that there's been anything really recent, but I know clearly
Vice
for
versa.
yeah, and clearly for our Hispanic families, they are frequently pretty much the only game in town because they
Sure.
don't have the financial Medicaid insurance kinds of resources. So we have a lot of dialogue around that group. But yeah, in services, it's been a while, but probably could do some more.
Yeah, as I say, both ways.
Right,
And good stuff.
Right.
Okay, we're going to move on, Jan, to your report, and we'll have a budget update.
Yeah, I sort of did some of the budget update in my written handout. We did present, thank you, Jennifer, so much.
Thank you, Jennifer.
We did present to the commissioners on June the 2nd, and our budget, as you all know, was developed pre-COVID. So we had lots of great ideas and plans for things that we wanted to do this year. And by the time we got to meeting with the manager and and then presenting to the commissioners. We already knew that revenues were significantly impacted, and that, you know, we worked with the manager and the deputy manager to look at things that we could cut, things that we could agree on. So on June 2nd, we focused primarily on the successes and some of the things that we had done with some of the resources that we've been given in years past. We talked a lot about 5 positions that I really truly felt like we desperately needed, the top 5 positions. We did get support from the manager for the income maintenance technician at the Earth Building. And that is the first person you will now see when you walk into that building. We were having to use supervisors to be at the front door prior to this position getting approved. We still have to hire, of course. It's being advertised now. So we did get that position. It was one of just a very few positions that the county budget was able to fund for this year. So we're very appreciative of that. So basically there were no real surprises when we got in, because we pretty much already hashed out a lot of this in advance. I think there was some support from some of the commissioners to try and see if we could figure ways to fund some of the other positions, but with the finances the way they were, there was really no way to move forward at this time. So that's pretty much the budget report as it stands. What we were trying to get, I will tell you what the 5 were. The income maintenance person at the front door, an APS position, another the program manager for foster care to support the child welfare area, another Medicaid worker, and the paralegal for child support were the things that we were pushing really hard to get. So we'll figure it out. We're already trying to see how we can reassign duties. If there's some things that we could reclassify or whatever that maybe aren't as critical to us right now. So we will be working with the manager and the finance folks to see if we can do some of that. Okay. So that's the budget update. If anybody's got any questions, I'll be glad to answer those. Okay. So you want to talk about Medicaid application processing, because that's the next thing up. You should have your report. As you see, we passed the processing again this month. Yeah. We had a little bit more of a struggle this time, but we did pass everything at 92, 93%. And as you all remember, we have to pass at 90%. So we managed to do that. We remained substantially below the average number of days to process. We were at 66% for the MAD, Medicaid for disabled, and at 66 days, I'm sorry, 66 days and 26 days for the other Medicaid. So unless anybody's got any questions there, I'll keep going. Our vacancy report, we have filled 1 position since the last meeting. He's sitting right there. And so we currently have 22 vacant positions. The manager has authorized us to post 11 of those vacancies plus the new position. And so we are recruiting or have just finished recruiting for those positions. So we still have a significant number more that we need to recruit for. But again, the financial situation is creating some issues for us. But we will continue to try and work with everybody to see if we can get those resolved so that we can get these positions in here. These are all budgeted positions, critical positions, and some have been vacant for more than 6 months. So we were right at hiring when COVID hit, and so it really did knock us back. So that's pretty much it. I will make y'all aware of a food stamp fraud case that you may hear about in the community. It is with PJ's Mart. We have over 200 individuals who purchased there, and they did hot food purchasing, and I believe, as I understand it, they also allowed them to do things on credit, neither of which are allowed with food stamps. So all of these individuals are being called in. If it is found that they did this, then this is a 1-year disqualification from the food stamp program. So just wanted to make y'all aware of that. I've already had a couple of calls from folks who were very concerned about the fact that they made this mistake. They didn't understand. They won't do it anymore. But unfortunately, they are going to be caught up in this. So that's pretty much what I have for this month, unless y'all have questions or things that you want to talk about.
Any questions for Ms. Elliott? Okay.
I see quiet.
Okay, well, thank you, Jan, for that report. And so as we wrap up, we're going to go to board member comments, and I'm going to be very methodical about this. So Dr. Bunch, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Yes, I'd like to say welcome to our new deputy director. Welcome to Greenville. Welcome to Pitt County DSS. I'd also like to commend Jan and her staff for continuing to provide great services in the era of COVID-19. Last month, I was muted. I could not make a comment. However, the ECU School of Social Work was very happy that we were able to provide you with that award for outstanding agency. And we'd like to thank the agency for all that you do for our students in terms of opening up internships to enhance their learning and practice in public welfare. So that's all I have to say, and thank God for being unmuted.
Okay, Catherine?
Yes, I would like to also welcome our new Deputy Director, Dr. Frazier, and welcome to Pitt County. And we are so grateful that you took this position to help support Jan and the others in the Department of Social Services.
Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. And Mr. Dancy?
Yes, I too would like to welcome the new deputy director and look forward to meeting you in person once we get back to as normal as we can. Jan, as usual, really continue to appreciate all the work that you and your staff do. I look forward to seeing you guys in person soon, hopefully.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I'd just like to echo everybody's comments in terms of today and welcome Dr. Frazier, and look forward to the day where we can all be back here at the table and things won't be so complicated in terms of things. So with that being said, if there's no other more comments, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Catherine,
Raise your hand.
Catherine?
Dan, 2 seconds.
Yeah, looks like Sheila raised it next.
Okay.
Yeah, did we get a motion?
I think we got a couple here. So I'm going to take
Okay.
Catherine first and you can second it.
I
Okay.
second.
got it. Thank you, everybody. See you
roll
next.
call.
Oh,
All right,
Since-
bye-bye.
And I think we had a vote.
Okay, that works.
sorry. I think we're good. Thanks, guys.